So the biggest question right now going into into June this weekend is to figure out who the new GM of the New York Jets is. Mike McKenna got fired unexpectedly, so the Jets have started their GM search and they actually have had visits already. So here's the interview schedule as of now. Ian Rappaport reported this earlier today. Scott Fitter from the Seattle Seahawks interviewed today. Terry Fontenot of the New Orleans Saints is tomorrow. Joe Douglas of the Philadelphia Eagles, who is the favorite to become the GM of the New York Jets, is Sunday. Then Champ Kelly of the Chicago Bears will begin next week. So I think the Jets are doing their due diligence of who they want to see and who they want to bring in, but I think they're pretty much settled on one guy, and that's Joe Douglas from the Philadelphia Eagles. There's a lot of reports that are saying that if Sunday does not go well, then maybe Joe Douglas, but it's pretty much a done deal. Tony Pauline reported earlier today that it's pretty much a done deal. They're just trying to do whatever they can so they don't get caught in the Rooney Rule, all that stuff. So they're pretty much just looking around as of now. But Joe Douglas should be the guy bearing anything that goes wrong in the interview on Sunday. So what do we expect from Joe Douglas? So Joe Douglas is coming off, from a Philadelphia Eagles team that just won a Super Bowl 2 years ago, and he had a lot to do with bringing those athletes that were remarkable over there, and which brought home a Super Bowl finally to Philadelphia. So bringing in Joe Douglas, he brings a different mindset for the New York Jets. And Joe Douglas wants a job. What I've heard that people have said there has been a done deal already. They're just trying to figure out what they're supposed to do. But Joe Douglas should be the dude that comes in and becomes a New York Jets GM. For me personally, I don't know much about, there's not a guy that I wanted from the beginning, but what I've heard, Philadelphia Eagles fans have said that they don't want Joe Douglas to leave because he's that good. But personnel like these always have to leave for better jobs, especially GM jobs. And he wanted the job and he want the money, and it's perfect scenario for the Jets, especially having a new team going on right now, and see if he can make some good decisions for the New York Jets. What I expect from Joe Douglas, we're lacking in draft. Last 4 years we lacked with Mike McKinnon being really bad in the NFL draft. That's very important to us, especially as a young team. We're gonna have to build through the draft. We can't build to the free agency every year. Yes, we're gonna get playmakers in the free agency like this year, but we need to build through the draft and grab the young guys to keep the process of the New York Jets keep going to get where they want to be. So it's going to be interesting if we bring Joe Douglas in, and I do believe that Joe Douglas should be signed maybe between Sunday to maybe like Tuesday, because Champ Kelly is coming in next week. So we'll see how that works out. I'm just hoping for the best with Joe Douglas. He's probably the best guy in the market right now, apparently, but we'll see how that pans out. Also, it was reported today that NFL Network Daniel Jeremiah will not be joining the staff if Douglas becomes the GM of the New York Jets. So that's one. He became one of the hot names when the GM search began as soon as Mike McKinnon got fired. So it was a rumor for a long time that if he's gonna come back maybe be a candidate for the New York Jets and come into the coaching phase, because he has he has one of the best minds in the draft. He can spot some young guys, but what I've heard that he probably will not take the job if Joe Douglas or become a part of the Jets front office if Joe Douglas takes a GM job. But a guy that I've heard about, I forgot what his name was. Actually, right here, guy to keep an eye on if Joe Douglas becomes the GM is Ravens executive Phil Savage. He was reported today from Jason La Informa that he will be one of the guys that he would Joe Douglas might want to bring in. You know, Daniel Jeremiah might not be the guy that comes in, but executive Phil Savage could be one of the guys that comes in, and I think they're going to be starting to establish a little bit more of who he's going to try to bring in, maybe a little bit more familiar guys, especially Joe Douglas feels comfortable and Adam Gase feels comfortable, and who comes in the front office and bringing. It's really important to see have the head coach and the GM be on the not the same page, but comfortable with each other, comfortable with the opinions. I guess, Mike Maccagnan and Adam Gase didn't feel that way, so it's good to have that straightened out in the very early. I do still think it was a bad time Mike Maccagnan firing, but if Joe Douglas, Adam Gase, and the staff that Douglas brings in and they're comfortable with each other, then that's a good thing for the entire organization as a whole. You know, we've been dealing with a lot of the Jets organization being a complete crap. So it's gonna be interesting how the Jets handle all this stuff. So it's something it's gonna take an entire weekend. It's gonna take a couple of days to see who the next GM is, but the talk is definitely gonna heat up, especially after Sunday when Joe Douglas comes in for his interview. Um, but we'll see how everything transitions out for the team. I think Joe Douglas will be the guy, but only time will tell. Jet Nation, you made it to the end of the video. Hit the like button, leave your thoughts below, and definitely for daily videos of your beloved New York Jets, hit the subscribe button. And like always, Jet up.